Playoff baseball. Half the team showed up, half of them didn't, Will. Let's talk about it, bud. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 51 of Bringing the Heat. My name's Cody Pyatt. With me, as always, the four-seam fastball co-host, Will Sism. How you doing, man? Friday night record.
It is Friday night. How about that?
I like it.
Man, my Rays went down, but still, I'm really looking forward to Division Series baseball coming up, and we're going to talk about it all right here.
Dude, we're going to dive in. We're going to talk Wildcard recap, and then hopefully most of the episode is breaking down the divisional rounds. So, if you're a baseball fan, you saw it. It was a very interesting – we got quad sweep, essentially, right,
Yeah.
Will? I mean, it was just 4 sweeps. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card.
No.
I just think the thing to do right now is just dive in, Will, because I got stuff I want to talk about.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's strip the Band-Aid off early, okay? Let's get the Rays out of the ways, okay? We got Texas Rangers. They went to Tampa, and not many people else, okay? We're going to talk about that too. I want Will's opinion on a lot of stuff, okay? Game 1, Rangers take it 4-2-0. Jordan Montgomery cruised through 7 innings scoreless. He had 5 Ks. Evan Carter, Will's potential man crush. I think he could be a Will's guy.
I like him.
One of Will's my guys here in a year or two, or maybe right now. I don't know. He went 2 for 2 with a couple doubles and 2 walks, and then Corey Seager had a double walk and an RBI. Big day for the Rangers offense, but the biggest issue in Game 1, Rays kicking the ball around the infield, the outfield, probably the dugout. 4 errors. Tough for the Rays, not Rays baseball. They lost 4-0. In Game 2, Rangers kind of took it handily. 7-1. Nathan Eovaldi, 6.2 innings of 1-run ball, striking out 8. So 2 good starts by the Rangers. Another big day by another young guy. Josh Young went 3 for 4, a couple doubles and a triple. We got some RBIs from Carter again, Adolis Garcia, Seager, Nathaniel Lowe, and Simeon. So the Rangers, big names, did it, and they take down your Rays, man, 2-0 in the series. What are your thoughts as you watch this?
Yeah, I mean, it stinks. I mean, it just feels like a potential really good year that's cut short really abrupt. I mean, I want to give the Rangers credit. I mean, the Rangers, here's the thing. I'll talk about this more when we get to the preview of the Baltimore series, but, I mean, if anybody thinks they know which Rangers ball club's going to show up any given game, they're lying. Like, I don't know if Bruce Bochy knows what he's going to get on any given day, but it was good Rangers for 2 days in Tampa, and credit to them. I mean, they did what they had to do. Montgomery was awesome in that first game. He kept the Rays off balance all game long. They couldn't get good swings on him. And really, Eovaldi did the same thing in Game 2. I mean, the story to me was, Tampa, you mentioned the errors, and obviously that's not Rays baseball, and that was tough to watch. But, I mean, really, at the end of the day, you score, 1 run in 2 games, like, you deserve to be swept, And so here's the thing. Like, my big thing was I said in the last couple of episodes that Tampa – record-wise, they're the 2 seed in the American League.
Correct.
But, not to make an excuse, but the problem is when you have to play in these wild card series, as a non-division winner, this is kind of what potentially happens. You go cold for 2 days, or you boot the ball around for 2 games, and you're going home. And so, my big takeaway is you just got to win the division,
Got to.
Obviously, they were close there against Baltimore, but Baltimore was just a little bit better. And, we'll see how Baltimore does against that Texas team.
Yeah, I like what you said. After Game 1, I don't know if you saw Cash. He said, this was our worst game of the year.
Yeah.
And, man, my big question, and I sent you a text after Game 1. I said, if they get 2-0 bounce, is somebody in the higher-ups, are they going to look at maybe making a change? Because this is a team, dude, they run it in the regular season, and they look great, and it's just a different bear. And I love what you said about the urgency to win the division because, dude, anything can happen in a literal weekend. It used to be they did the one-game wild card. It's just like, dude, who the heck knows? It's the Game 7 mentality, all hands on deck.
This is the closest thing to it, though, too.
Well, there's no doubt. And I think something like 83% of the time, if you win Game 1, you're going to win the rest of the series. Because it's kind of like in boxing when, you get a good lick on somebody, you put them on their back foot. You win that Game 1, well, now everything changes. Dude, I hate to look at Kevin Cash and be like, what is there something he needs to be doing differently? Bottom line, it feels like the team, and this is not going to be the only team I say this is about. It just seems like the team didn't show up, and that's not really an indictment on their year. They were cold this weekend. I mean, teams go through stretches like this, and the Rangers caught them, and it's gonna happen with a great team that hits the way they do. I mean, 1 through 9, their lineup is really solid. This Evan Carter kid, he bats 9th. He's
legit.
And I forgot who I heard say this, but I loved it so much. And honestly, it might have been you. Strong Kyle Tucker vibes.
Yep.
And he's just, dude, very sound. They were calling him Mr. 3-2 count on the broadcast. And he wears 32, which is awesome. Yeah, dude, a lot to like about Texas.
Yeah, we'll see. And just to close the book on Tampa, as a fan, I don't need them to do anything crazy in the offseason. I mean, let's face it, they were one of the best teams in baseball. 2 games aren't really changing my mind, even though, Texas was just better. Not to make any excuses, but, I mean, Tampa lost all of that top-end talent, and at some point, it's probably going to catch up to them. I mentioned that as soon as it happened, and I felt like it was going to be tough at that time when they did get to the postseason, and it proved to be tough. And so, when you lose top-end talent like they did and you just don't play well, for 2 games, it looks bad. But all in all, hats off to Texas. I don't need to see the Rays do anything crazy. They might trade a guy like Randy Arozarena. I have no idea. But as a fan, I have plenty of faith in the organization. If they were to run it back pretty close to what they've got this year, I think they'll be a really good team again. Okay,
I hate to do this, but I have to ask the attendance issue in St. Pete. So Game 1, 19,704 people showed up. It was a big hullabaloo because I think that stadium seats about 25,000, which is less than most. And it made the rounds, dude. People were wondering, like, for a playoff game, these guys can't get more people here. The big stat everybody heard, if you're listening, it's likely this is not the first time you've heard this. 1919 World Series, I guess, like, shoeless Joe Jackson was playing. That was the last time we had a playoff game with this low of attendance. And then one I heard, maybe a little deeper cut, the Royals, last game of the year, had more fans at there. They had like over 20,000. More fans at their playoff games. You have any thoughts on that? Or
I mean, it's not a good look. I'll be the first one to say it. I think that there's a lot of factors that are in play here. I mean, obviously the stadium, the Trop, love it or hate it, it's not the greatest, right? And the location, I've heard by many, many accounts, is not the best. I think one of the bigger factors too that maybe not, I don't know, might be a little bit underrated and not reported as widely. Like, let's look at the game time. It was basically in the middle of the day,
right,
during the week. Like true. On a Monday, Tuesday, you're like at, what was it, 2:00? Yeah. So I mean,
3 their time, but yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the Rays always have struggled to get a lot of attendance consistently. I'll be the first one to say it. But when granted it's a playoff game, I get it. But I don't know. There was a lot of factors not in their favor to try to get a sellout crowd. So sum it up, not a good look. I don't think it changes anything crazy moving forward.
Yeah.
But I just hate it kind of for the players more than anything. I think they deserved to have a little bit better crowd, more of a playoff atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a shame that it turned out the way it did. But here's the thing. You pack the stadium out. If they play like they did with the stadium packed, they're still going to get crushed by the Rangers, and that's what happened. Yeah,
very true. Hey, you know what I hear? There might be some tickets available next year. Right here. We're going to go.
Let's
go.
It's
going to be 19,706 people. Okay.
Right.
It's going to be great. All right. Moving on. Let's close the book on one team. We're going to shut the book down on another AL East team. Man, tough week for the East, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, the Blue Jays and the Twins went at it for 2 in Minnesota. So, game 1, Twins took it 3-1. They ended their playoff losing streak at 18 games. Whew, what a ride. Let's see. Pablo Lopez pitched really well, 5.2 innings, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, just mowed them down. Kind of just great defense behind him. It was pretty awesome. Rolls-Royce Lewis. I got to raise my hand here. I don't look for credit that much in life, but I said that a couple weeks ago, and I'm hearing it everywhere.
You did.
All right. Okay. So I got to send some emails to those guys. I think Michael K said, I was like, hey, Michael, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty big guys in the baseball, the two of us. The baseball media,
yep.
It's like 1A, 1B, pretty tough out there.
Yep, you heard it here first.
That's exactly. Bringing the heat. BTH.
Right.
Not looking for credit, but maybe a little bit of credit. Speaking of credit, this dude went off. He gets all the credit for all 3 runs, a couple of home runs, 3 RBIs for Royce Lewis. We talked about it before the playoffs started. This guy goes off in October. He's not going to be a sleeper in fantasy, which is
no, he's not. He's a difference maker.
A little bit of a bummer. Can't run to first because he's got a bum hamstring currently, so we'll see how that kind of materializes.
Hit him out of the park.
That's he's like, his manager said if it's a ground ball, if it's on the ground, it's an out. Don't even run hard. He said, I got you, coach. I got you. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Toronto threatened a couple of times, notably in the 8th, but were not able to get that big hit. They go down game 1, 3-1, and then in game 2, more of the same. Sonny Gray, 5 scoreless. And the Twins scraped across a couple runs. Big play in this one. Bases loaded in the top of the 5th, and Vladdy gets picked off a second. Will, I bet you saw it.
Yep.
I mean, you can't have that happen with Bo Bichette up in 3-2 count.
Mm-mm.
Takeaways from this series. What did you see?
Yeah, here's my big things, one for each team. I'll start with the Twins. Congratulations to the Twins.
Yeah.
You deserve this. You know what? Here's the thing. If there's one team left in the playoffs right now that can honestly say nobody believes in us, it's the Twins.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that. And you better believe that some of those leaders on that team are kind of, feeding that, and they're using that as fuel moving forward. And here's the thing. In the playoffs, pitching plays. And Minnesota's got plenty of pitching.
Yep.
The bullpen's pretty good. And if they can just get a couple of guys hot, man, they've legitimately got a chance just about against anybody. And, we'll talk about this more when we get to the preview. But hats off to the Twins. They fully deserved it. Switching gears, man. Toronto, I've kind of alluded to this all year long, honestly.
The movie sucks, dude.
Like, Toronto, there's something not right, and I don't really quite understand it. I said this about a month or so ago. They're not quite getting me to White Sox vibes, but there's a little bit of, like, White Sox fever, it feels like, with Toronto, just not to that drastic extent. I just feel like that Toronto is one of those teams that everybody hypes up, and they're probably going to do it again next year. And I'm to the point where they need to prove it to me before I'm going to give them any sort of, they're going to the World Series or they're going to the ALCS. Like, they got to prove it to me first, because here's the thing. There's too much I don't know. There's too much hype. There's a lot of and rightfully so. Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr., I get it. They're great talents.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, they just don't – it just feels like that team doesn't do what they need to do consistently to win games.
Mm-hmm.
They lose a lot of close games. Their pitching has been really good, and I just don't understand why the lineup has been as mediocre to below average as it has been really all year.
Yeah.
And that's really the story of this team. They scored, what, 1 run?
Correct.
I mean, that's pathetic. And to your point, you mentioned Vlad Jr. getting picked off at second. That just – I'm sorry, that cannot happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a lack of attention to detail, and you cannot be considered a superstar like he is if you're going to do dumb stuff like that and cost your team a chance.
Yeah, you were talking about superstar. That play was put on by Correa, and love him or hate him. He's got a lot of enemies in the game of baseball, but this guy's been around the block, especially in October.
Yeah,
and what an awesome dude! I was getting hyped. Okay, no dog in the fight. I was actually rooting for a game on Thursday. I want to see a game 3, but I was like, you got to be kidding me. That's pretty awesome. Any thoughts on Snyder taking Barrios out after 3 innings? Kind of felt like that was a scripted move. Like they were like, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
and it totally backfired on him.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that it had to be some sort of scripted move. I mean, you don't do it unless it is scripted because it didn't make sense otherwise. But yeah, I fully believe it was scripted. I don't know. I feel like that's getting all the attention when the attention should be.
You don't score any runs, dude. You're not going to win.
You score 1 run in 2 games, you don't deserve to win. I mean, they could have had Sandy Koufax out there and he would have gotten beat 1-0. So. Yep. But no, I don't agree with the move. I don't like scripted stuff like that because what if a guy blows through the order 1 or 2 times and it's like, oh, the script says to take him out. So
the whole point of managing is like to have that feel of the game, right?
Let me ask you this though, really quick. I know we need to move forward, but
here we go.
Toronto can't just run this back, can they? Like there's got to be some sort of moves to get something different. I mean,
they got a couple.
You can't keep doing this.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. They got a couple big name pitchers.
Manager, they're gonna make any.
Okay, well here's what I was gonna say. Right,
is he gonna be the scapegoat?
Yes, because they have Don Mattingly. They brought him in as a bench coach, and I'm like, this has got to be the most uncomfortable job in baseball because the second he screws up, they're just gonna fire him, and then they got the heir apparent.
Yeah.
You gotta keep in mind. Alek Manoah is a part of this organization.
Oh, God.
Okay, so you just never know. I mean, they could go – we would look at our first 162-0 team, okay, because Alek Manoah exists and plays for the Blue Jays sometimes if he feels like it, okay? If he wants to show up, he'll be there. Speaking of showing up, I think as we transition to our next series in the National League, this was about the only series where it felt like both teams got off the bus.
Yeah.
They put their cleats on, put their clothes, all that stuff. And they went out and played some baseball because we had some back and forth in this Arizona Diamondbacks versus Milwaukee Brewers series. Now, the result was still the same. The Diamondbacks, 2-0 Vic. I mean, that's awesome. 2-0 win over in the series over the Brewers. Let's talk about it. Game 1, D-backs comeback win, 6-3 after rolling through the first couple of innings. Corbin Burns gave up back-to-back jacks to your boy, Corbin Carroll.
Yep.
And then Ketel Marte. Brandon Pfaadt, he was not great, but he did, I think, what they wanted him to do.
Good enough.
Good enough. And then their bullpen, I think they recorded 18 outs. Absolutely solid outing by them. Christian Walker tacked on a couple insurance runs in the top of the 9th. And Seawald, man, said, sorry, Seattle, I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to make big moves here. And that was that. And then you have, obviously, with the Woodruff news, you had the Brewers absolutely on the back foot. They had to push up their original Game 3 starter, Peralta, to Game 2. And he looked pretty solid, but the Diamondbacks took it 5-2. Zach Gallant settled in after giving up a couple of runs in the first, but was able to record a quality start. He was over 30 pitches in that first inning. Anytime they start pushing 30, I get pretty nervous because I'm like, at some point, That's a lot of bullets out of the old noodle there, Will. Let's see. Alec Thomas got the scoring started for Arizona in the fifth with a solo shot, and then a couple of RBI singles by Gurriel and Marte to seal the deal. A 5-2 victory. Arizona, what a series. What'd you like?
I tell you what, to me, I think this series was all about game one. I just kind of felt like if Arizona could figure out a way to beat Corbin Burns in game one, because you knew Zach Gallen was going in game two, and then if you got to a game three, you had Merrill Kelly lined up. And it just felt like if Arizona could figure out how to win that game one with Corbin Burns pitching for Milwaukee, and granted, I like Freddie Peralta. I think Freddie Peralta is a great pitcher. Yeah. But it just felt like if Arizona could win that game one, that it was almost a wrap.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they figured out a way to win that game one like what you described. And right then and there, I was like, Arizona's got this.
Correct.
You know? And I think it was about as simple as that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're Milwaukee, you got to believe it's like, all right, we got our ace. We're missing Woodruff. So, like, Burns has got to go out there and be special and figure out a way to win this game one.
Yeah.
And when he didn't, it's like, uh-oh, we're toast.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. That's kind of really as simple as I can put it. It's kind of really the way I felt like the series went. Credit to Arizona. I think that lineup really stepped up with a lot of young guys and guys who haven't been there before. Yeah. And I think that they played well. And I think if you're a Diamondbacks fan, I mean, everybody's going to pick the Dodgers, right, in this coming series.
Probably.
But I think that's maybe to Arizona's advantage because they've literally got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Kind of like what I was saying with the Twins. Nobody's giving us a chance. So we're just going to go out there and play ball and see how it falls. But I tell you what, man, those two, they've got Merrill Kelly now being able to go in game one because they didn't have to use him in game three.
Correct.
And I think this was a big stepping stone moment for Arizona. I don't want to like oversell it just yet, but I really think this was a big, big momentum boost. Not only for this year, but moving forward for Arizona and those players. And, I think, I'll tell you what, I think Arizona-LA is going to be a good series.
I think it's going to be better than what people think it'll be. Real quick, peeling back, a couple of thoughts. I loved everything you said about game one because you got their best pitcher in Burns. And then kind of I don't want to say a deep cut, but like later in the game, you had Devin Williams come in trying to hold it to a 4-3 disadvantage at that time, but give the team a chance to come back, blooping a blast, and you're celebrating. They absolutely hammered Devin Williams. And really, I guess maybe even less than that, he was just wild. And we talked about it last episode, and I talked about it benefiting my fantasy team. They were resting him. I mean, he pitched maybe once in the last week.
I think it bit him.
And he was rusty, dude. Only went 2/3 of an inning and gave up, the 2 runs, and they were 2 big ones. That had to breathe so much confidence into this Diamondbacks team. Almost a 2022 Phillies. I mean, these guys come in, wildcard team, and they have – listen, I didn't want to, poo-poo Milwaukee. Not a lot gets me excited when you look at that. I mean, they're pitching.
No.
Okay? But, when Woodruff leaves in a 5-game set, I mean, are we picking them over the Dodgers? There's no way, dude. We look at that and we say offensively the Dodgers are going to big brother these guys. Yep. And
with no Woodruff, they had no chance of going anywhere.
Correct. And I wonder if that played any role into, just the mentality of that team. I mean, the timing of that, right before the series starting, you're like, whoa, now – Corbin's it's
all the pressure shifts to Corbin Burns. There's all sorts of variables there, but when Woodruff was announced that he was a no-go, that was almost doom and gloom right there for Milwaukee.
Yep, dude.
Because Woodruff, when he's healthy, if he's healthy, you can make a very, very strong argument that he's a top 5 pitcher in all of baseball.
He gave up 1 earned run in his last 22 innings pitched. I mean, he's a really but the injury bug, dude.
Yeah.
And we got to move on.
Yeah.
But dude, that was.
He is awesome.
I'm excited. Yes, he is, and I'm excited to see what the Diamondbacks do because.
Me too.
I think they just match up better against the Dodgers. We're going to talk about that, guys. Hang in there. Second half, real quick. This will be a quick one. We're breeze through this, okay? Phillies. Phillies just a better team. Let's talk about it. They won 2-0 in the series. First game, 4-1. Zach Wheeler is back, man. It's October. It's a different Zach Wheeler. You texted me during or after the game.
Playoff Zach.
Dude, playoff Zach is a different animal. He might be the best pitcher, starting pitcher left in the field. He was lights out, 6.2. He gave up 1 run. Really shouldn't. If he would have covered first, Bryce Harper, love him. He's not a first baseman. He's there for the bat, and he does a pretty solid job for never playing first base before this year. Anyway, if you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, should have been 7 shutout. He gave up 1 over 6.2. Trey Turner, big game players make big game plays. I'm pretty sure somebody – popular, more cool than me said that, Will. Had a big game, double, walk, and a couple of steals. That's what it was. He was running all over the diamond. For the Marlins, Josh Bell turned up, couple of doubles, but dude, just not going to do it. Not going to do it. Jesus Luzardo got roughed up a little bit. In game 2, Phillies, grand slam by Bryson Stott, and 7 scoreless from Aaron Nola. It's like we just went in the Wayback Machine and we were in 2022 with these guys. That was it, man. That game felt over.
It felt like a mismatch.
It really did. It felt, it just did not feel. Kind of felt like it should have been the Cubs. Cubs should have won some more baseball games. We, could have seen some steal action. Yeah. And maybe. Anyway, I digress. Real quick thoughts on the Phils.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just think the Phillies were by far the better team. Miami had a tough, some key injuries. But hats off to Miami. Had a great season. They're just not quite there yet. Mm-hmm. Phillies Braves, though, we're going to get to it. It's going to be incredible.
I'm so excited, dude. I am so excited for this weekend in baseball. It's going to be great. Let's
do it. Previews, man.
Let's hit it, dude. Divisional series previews. We're moving on. So obviously we had Texas taking down the Rays. That means they have earned their right to go to Milwaukee, or go to Baltimore.
That was a good one.
I was looking at the wrong. And we're going to do a pre-World Series right now. No, the Rangers are going up against the Orioles. Dude, there is a lot to unpack here. Here's what we know. I don't even know really how to do this other than this is what we know. Okay, we have the O's. They're going to throw out Kyle Bradish, and then the young guy, the young gun, Grayson Rodriguez. Those will be their first 2. On the Rangers side, as I look right now, they have, for game 1, Andrew Heaney.
Wow.
You got to lean pretty heavily. I mean, he's not a guy who's going to give you 6 or 7 innings. Probably lean pretty heavily towards the Orioles in game 1. And then game 2, we have no one listed quite yet. But you would imagine they'd probably Dave Dunning, perhaps, or peel back to our main man who went in game 1 of the Montgomery, yes, thank you. Sorry. Late night Friday record. Work today, baby. Work today. Brain is just like, what's going on? Dude, what are your thoughts on this upcoming series?
As I said at the top, which Rangers team are we going to get? I think that's honestly the key to the series. Because, I don't know what Rangers team is going to show up.
Yeah.
The good Rangers might be the best team in baseball. I'm not kidding. Mm-hmm. But the bad Rangers could get swept by anybody. And, obviously anywhere in between. As good as the Rangers looked against Tampa, obviously it was just 2 games. Baltimore is just a little bit different animal, though. Baltimore, I think, they've got a little bit deeper lineup, especially right now, compared to Tampa. Baltimore also, I think, it's almost like the new age roster construction. They've got pitchers that are probably going to go around 5 innings.
Yeah.
And they're just handing it over to the bullpen, and they are locked and loaded in the bullpen. And I think the bullpen for the Orioles, one way or the other, is going to determine the outcome of the series.
Mm-hmm.
If the Orioles bullpen lives up to kind of how they've been all year, I think Baltimore is going to win it.
Yeah.
If Texas gets to the bullpen and scores runs off the bullpen, then Texas is going to have a great shot. I don't know. If we're doing predictions, I'm going to say Baltimore in 6.
It is a 5-game set.
Oh, well, my bad. I'm going to say Baltimore in 4 then.
Okay.
So I just think Baltimore's the more consistent team. I think their lineup at least compares to Texas. And I think the bullpen is the difference maker. Bullpen for Texas is shaky at best. And home crowd advantage could help as well. Those fans in Baltimore need to show out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to go Orioles in this one. I think Baltimore – I don't know. I just feel like Baltimore is going to somehow figure it out and win the series.
Yeah. I love everything you said. The Rangers bullpen didn't come into effect in that wild card series. And something so interesting is the fact this is going to be a longer series, man. You can't – there's nowhere to hide, And potentially maybe kicking people to the bullpen starter-wise for the Rangers, or what I suspect they'll do because, okay, so MLB has Heaney starting game 1 and then Montgomery starting game 2. So that is official. ESPN, catch up, okay. So here's what I see happening. They probably piggyback Heaney and Dunning because he also hasn't thrown.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so stoked to see what Bochy's going to do. Bruce Bochy, just a veteran guy, to try and alleviate essentially the leaky bullpen they have. I feel like he's just trying to patch the holes and like, how can I manipulate this? I mean, this is a guy when the chips were down in 2014 said, "Here you go, Madison Bumgarner, just do it," And I am very excited to see what he does because I think if there's not some tricks pulled, that bullpen's going to be exposed. I mean, anything can happen in a 5-game set. I understand that. But, dude, you got to lean Baltimore for the bullpen. And here's why. They have like 7 or 8 starting pitchers. They're going to kick 3 of them to the bullpen. And then, dude, Felix Bautista being here would just be an absolute game changer.
Yes.
He's not. It sucks. These guys got some – even like a DL Hall – who's this young prospect from the left side throwing like 98, 99.
Yep.
Dude is nasty, okay? So they got that card to pull. Obviously, Cano, Yenier Cano. Dude, beginning of the year, never heard of that guy. Couldn't say his name. Now full confidence. Pop out my chest. So you got to like Orioles bullpen. I think the Rangers just need to bang. I mean, they got to score runs.
Oh, yeah. And that's their best shot.
They've got to make it –
a slugfest.
They got to, dude. If it's 2-2 or 3-1, it is gonna get hairy quick for Texas.
I think one of the keys for that lineup in Texas though is Adolis Garcia. It feels like he's kind of their like they go to a new level if Adolis Garcia or Josh Young is hot. Because it feels like Marcus Semien and Seager are kind of their consistent guys that at the top of the lineup that are pretty consistently getting a couple of hits every game, extra base hits, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But Garcia and Josh Young are the guys to where they get hot or cold. And so I feel like those guys are going to be key.
I agree with you, dude. I like that a lot because I feel like Adolis could strike out 5 times in a game. He could have like 8 Ks in 3 games and this series be over. This guy just didn't show up. Or he could hit 5 home runs. So I like everything you said there. On the Orioles front, it could go one of 2 ways for me. Like it's either going to be the lights are too bright for the young birds.
Yep.
Or America is going to be introduced to this new crop of young baseball players in Adley and Gunnar and everything they bring to the table. Cedric Mullins playing Gold Glove center field. I mean, they are a great team, and I think their biggest weakness we all believed coming into the year was that starting pitching. Grayson has turned into a guy. I mean, he's just
and Bradish,
man. Kyle Bradish
might be the most underrated pitcher in all of baseball this year.
I mean, seriously, dude. Him and Zach Eflin.
Yes.
Really, in my mind, dude, they got it going on. I think we're going to see it in Game 1. It's going to be.
I give a little bit of credit to the catcher,
dude. Adley's the freaking man. Okay.
Yes.
We need signed Adley Rutschman jerseys. We love this guy, okay?
Yes.
And we're raising Red Sox fans.
Love him.
You're going to smoke our team for many years to come, and we still love you. That's got to mean something. Will, anything else before we move on?
No, I'm good. Go Baltimore. I will say, I like both of these teams. I really do. Because I've been on Texas all year.
Yeah.
But Baltimore, now that the Rays are out, full court press for the Orioles. I hope they can get through Texas, and I think if Baltimore does get through Texas, though, as you mentioned, they're so young, it'll give them even more confidence and be like, guys, we got this.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be ready come ALCS if they can get through Texas.
I like it a lot. You said Baltimore in 4. I'm going to say Baltimore in 5. That'll be my prediction there. Moving on to one I'm super excited about. There are so many things. This is going to be really cool. Minnesota Twins going to Houston for 5. 2 really complete teams. Obviously, the Astros won the World Series last year. They start their trek to repeat here in October. Dude, Correa coming back to Houston. That is going to be that's going to be, I mean, as the young kids say, all right? It's going to be fire. Okay, here we go.
It's going to be lit.
Dude, no cap, baby. It's going to be lit. Dude, what are your thoughts?
I'm with you, man. I did not expect to be really excited about the Twins going into this postseason, but I'm kind of excited about them. As I said at the top, I really believe that I think that the Twins are going to have it's us versus the world mentality. And I think, as you mentioned this, I think Carlos Correa, I think he's going to have these guys ready to go against his former team.
Got to think.
I think everybody in the national media is going to pick Houston.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. I get it. I really want to pick Minnesota in this series, but I'm going to probably say Houston in 5 just because I think when 2 teams are pretty equal, I'm going to go with Houston just because they've been there before.
Yeah.
Minnesota has literally never done this before other than Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
And
93, you know.
Yeah, right. So I still have major concerns in Minnesota if they can score enough runs. Like I really don't have any issue with. I think Minnesota's pitching matches up totally fine with Houston, but my issue is just can they score enough runs? And Royce Lewis is going to have to be awesome, even though he's still hurt. He's their guy, man. And Carlos Correa is going to have to be playoff Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm just going to give a slight edge to Houston. But I would not at all be surprised if Minnesota won this series.
Yeah. Dude, I'm getting this is like the day before Christmas. Same thing when Wildcard started. I am freaking psyched for these series. Game 1 is going to be Bailey Ober going with another young stud against Justin Verlander. He is the opposite of young, but he's kind of like baseball Yoda. The dude just somehow keeps doing it.
Yeah.
Except for, probably taller, better throwing a fastball. I don't know. I'm not a big Star Wars guy. I don't know if Yoda played baseball. Is there baseball in Star Wars? Someone hit us up in the comments to let us know.
Yeah.
Game 2. I got a little bit off track there, Will. What'd you say? Let's see. Pablo Lopez versus Framber Valdez.
I like that.
Everything you said about the lineup, dude, Houston's insane. Just 1 through 9. That's well documented. I think they went through like 6 or 7 ALCSs. That's bonkers. I mean, that's a run unlike anything I can think of in baseball. I mean, 20s Yankees, like 1920s, I guess. Dude, which JV and which Framber are we going to get? Because they have not been that
right.
I mean, they've been good. They've been pretty
good. And Christian
good.
Javier.
And, dude, Javier. Like, these guys could snap back in 3. This is, like, literally the ping pong game in my brain right now as I try and make a prediction because I feel like they could snap back and it could be 3-0. Houston's just better at baseball.
Yeah.
Or, like, dude, the Twins could take it in 5. These are 2 really complete teams. There's not a lot of holes, man. You get that Minnesota bullpen, it's disgusting. Like, they can give you 4 innings for 5 games. I don't think that's a problem, man.
Right.
And my biggest thing right now is what the heck's going on with Duran's hand. It didn't seem to matter, the closer for Minnesota. But Johan Duran, there it is, Will. First name was escaping me. But if there's any issues there, I would lean a lot heavier Houston. I'm gonna say Houston in 3 just because something tells me these guys.
Sweep?
I got a sweep, dude. I really
I don't know about that.
But in my mind, it's like here's my prediction: it's either gonna be Houston in 3 or Minnesota in 5. It just depends, dude. It's not really a prediction if I say it's just I don't know.
I will say this. I think of all teams that ended up winning their division and getting, like, let's just call it a bye past the wild card, I think that benefited Houston more than any other team by far.
Yeah.
It allows them to set their rotation. It gave everybody a little bit of a breather. They've been there before, so I don't think the layoff's going to, call it a layoff. I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You mentioned it. Verlander's got to be Verlander. Framber's got to be Framber.
Yep.
And Javier's got to somehow get his mojo back. And if they do that, they all of a sudden become one of the favorites.
Yep.
But if they don't do that, Minnesota can absolutely win the series. So we're going to have to wait and see.
Here's what I got for you. Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez, Tucker, Abreu, Brantley, McCormick. That's the first 7 in their lineup. Pena, World Series MVP last year. That's number 8.
Some of those guys have been hot and cold this year, though.
Dude, I'm telling you, October in Houston. It's going to be wild. I'm freaking pumped. And I can't decide which series I'm more pumped to see. Also, real quick, just peel back a second, guys. Go to the YouTube channel at, what is it called? Bringing the Heat. That's what it's called. It's for, I should know what it's called, Will.
Yep.
Will gave me a stank face. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. He gave me a hardcore stank face. He went, sweep? Okay, so I'm keeping receipts, baby. If they sweep, I'm going to clip it. And then I'm going to make some kind of, we're going to have fun with it. But if you want to see Will's stank face, it's going to be right around like the 40 to 45 minute mark, okay? You guys aren't going to want to miss it. Here's a couple things that don't stank. These series in the National League, Will. Okay. Oh, my gosh, man. Do we have – it's just like get your popcorn ready. Get your creams ready because you're going to have ulcers from sitting on the couch watching these games.
Yeah.
It's going to be so good. Let's talk Phillies-Braves for a second, okay? This is probably the series I'm looking most forward to. Braves get a chance to just get the sweet revenge after getting bounced by Philly last year in a couple of games, 4 games, I believe. Dude, just straight off the top, what are your thoughts on these teams?
My honest thoughts?
Hit me.
I hate that it's not a 7-game series.
I do. That's the last question, and I can ask you now if you want me to. But should MLB consider reseeding? Because here's what we got: we got the Braves that earned the number 1 seed. Man, they kept gunning for wins even when they didn't need to. Man, they were in that division was in the books in April, basically. Okay, they gunned for 103 wins. They get the number 1 seed, and who do they face? Because we don't reseed the 3 seed Phillies. The Diamondbacks upset Milwaukee, and now you got the 2 seed Dodgers, which we talked about. I think it's going to match up okay. We're going to talk about it more in a second. But they go up against the 6 seed.
Right.
So, really, they're penalized. The Braves are.
Yeah.
But I think this is what they wanted, man. They wanted a chance at these Phillies. What else you got?
Yeah, like I said, I just wish this was potentially 7 games, man. I think this is going to be a war, man. These are obviously 2 big division rivals. The Braves dominated the regular season. Everybody is still basically saying the Braves have the best team. I get it. I'm not going to disagree with anybody that says that.
Yeah.
But I have been saying for months now, if the Phillies get in, they are the most dangerous team if the Braves face them in the postseason. And here we are.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to put money where my mouth is. I'm going to say Phillies in 5.
Dude.
What? There's something about playoff Zach Wheeler. That Philadelphia lineup is not quite as deep as Atlanta, but that lineup, hey, I'd go to bat with that lineup any day.
For sure.
You know, and I just think that here's the thing. I think Philadelphia, I think their starting pitching is better than Atlanta.
Yeah.
I think their bullpen is slightly better than Atlanta. The lineup is not quite as deep, but they have the superstar power just like Atlanta has.
Yeah.
And I'll say it. I think if Craig Kimbrell does not blow a save in this series, I think Philadelphia wins the series. I honestly do. Now, if Craig Kimbrell blows a save, Atlanta's winning the series.
That'd be full circle, wouldn't it? I mean, the team.
Yes, it would.
Team that raised him.
It would be just poetic justice for a lot of people in Atlanta. But here's the thing: I love the Braves, and if the Braves end up winning the series 3-0, I won't be shocked, just because they are insanely good. Yeah. But I just think the Phillies match up so well. These teams know each other so well. Yep. And I'm gonna go Phillies in 5.
Oh my gosh, dude! Both of these sets, right? These are divisional foes, so that is an added layer.
Yes,
I mean these guys know each other. Even like season series, throw it out the window because you're not playing for these stakes. I mean, imagine if Philly takes this series against Atlanta. They're just gonna be like, "Hey, you have the division. We'll catch you in October again." Dude, I am so freaking excited. I'm like buzzing in my seat over here. Just pump this into my veins because let's talk about game 1 for a second. Ranger Suarez versus Spencer Strider. Okay, you're probably leaning pretty heavy Braves there, but dude, game 2. Are you sitting down, Will? Listener, are you sitting down? Here's what we got. Pump it into my veins, dog, because we got Zach Wheeler versus Max Fried. What are you doing on Monday? Okay, because I know what I'm doing at 6:07 Eastern time. Okay, I'm sitting down. I'm watching this baseball game, dude.
Playoff Zach.
It's gonna be nuts, man. In hot Atlanta, I am so excited. I'm bouncing over here, guys.
Dude, let me just say this real quick.
Go.
If Philadelphia somehow, some way can figure out a way to win game 1.
They're playing with house money.
Imagine the momentum that they're going to feel because they beat Spencer Strider, got one in Atlanta, get to flip home field. Dude. That would be massive if they can somehow beat Spencer Strider in Atlanta.
Dude, the game 1s are vital. And listen, I'm not a Philly fan, but I would say they feel akin to me, Boston, when they're in the playoffs. Yep. I get that same vibe. I love watching Phillies games when they're at Citizens Bank because, man, it is absolutely bumping. The bat spike, Bryson Stott, after the home run, spiked it just like Rhys Hoskins did last year. And that place just goes nuts. And I'm like, yes, I miss that, man. I miss just going crazy. Dude.
So what's your prediction?
Don't make me choose. I love them both. Don't make me choose. I like Phillies in 4. I like Phillies in 4. I like them in 4, dude. You talked me into it. Man.
Okay. I think it's going 5. I really do. I think these two teams are too closely matched. I think it's going 5, but I'm with you, man. I think the Phillies have an edge. I really do.
Yep.
As crazy as it sounds.
Yep. And think about if they win game 1, okay, then you got the back of the mind stuff kicking in for the Braves. We're pushing. And I mean, this team rolled in the regular season, but they did have stretches where they didn't, they can be beat. Okay.
Yes.
And
the thing that concerns me probably the most about the Braves is the back end of the bullpen's been leaky this year.
Sure.
a lot of games it hasn't mattered, and a lot of games it hasn't come down to that because they've blown out a lot of teams. But
yeah.
Minter has not looked the same.
Yeah.
He's been really inconsistent. And he's going to be coming in high leverage moments against lefties like, Harper, Stott, Schwarber, Minter's going to face those guys.
Yep.
And man, Iglesias, you do not know what you're going to get out of Iglesias. I mean, can we call him like the box of chocolates? Like life is like a box. You just don't know what you're going to get.
I like it a lot.
He can look like the most dominant closer in baseball some nights when he comes in.
Yeah.
And then other nights, it's like they know what's coming.
Yeah.
And so I'm in close games, I'm worried about that pin that Atlanta has.
Yeah. Charlie Morton going down, man, as I look at their depth chart.
That's big.
It's so big because obviously you go Strider, you go Max Fried, and then what are you looking at, dude? You're looking at
Bryce Elder.
Bryce Elder. What's he done in October?
Right.
He doesn't really have a track record. So let's see. And it'd be Elder versus
Nola
in Game 3.
Yeah.
The Braves better get a little Texas in them, and they better hit the ball because there's no reason to say they won. I mean, 1 through 9 they're really good, but it's going to be interesting. I can definitely see Philly taking it, and maybe that's just we just watched him crush a inferior team in the Miami Marlins, who are catching strays. R.I.P. to the 2024 season of Sandy Alcantara. Tough, but yeah, dude. I like it. You said Phillies in 5. I got Phillies in 4.
I can't wait, man.
I'm so excited. I love playoff baseball so much. When my Red Sox are in it, it's 10 times worse than this. But it is the best, guys. Thank you for bearing with me on the other end of this microphone. You're like, Cody, calm down, man. Somebody throw some water on this kid. But I am freaking pumped, dude. Not gonna ruin it, guys. You are not gonna ruin this. I'm excited. Move on. Last series. Anything on the Phillies Braves before we go?
I think we hit on it all, man. I just can't wait for that first pitch to be thrown tomorrow.
Dude, we're going to be together. Guys, you guys don't know this. Will and his lovely wife, they're coming to hang out, and we are. It's going to be a big day. Okay, Arizona Diamondbacks versus the L.A. Dodgers. What about that, man? We got a lot going on here, right? Again, you got the divisional matchup. You're looking at a division that the Diamondbacks ran for, a good chunk of the first half. Remember going to the All-Star break, they were your first-place team. It looks like we don't have a starter for Game 1, even though you would think it would be Kelly.
I think it's actually Merrill, Kelly, and Kershaw.
Yeah, does it say? Now it's not saying on MLB.com. So let me see what Espen says. Kelly just makes sense. It would be weird for it not to be. And then you probably go maybe Game 2 Gallen. I think I read that earlier in the week that he would be available for Game 2. So that adds up. Dude, the bigger issue to me, and I want to hear your thoughts, potentially the Dodgers rotation. What are you feeling on this series?
Here's the thing, man. I think this has got Astros Twins vibes all over it. I think everybody is going to pick, just like Houston, I think everybody is going to pick LA. And I get it. And I that's fine. But I just think that Arizona, as I said earlier, I think them winning that 3-game series against Milwaukee was huge. Especially the way they beat Corbin Burns in Game 1.
Yeah.
My heart wants to pick Arizona.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the Dodgers in 5.
Okay.
But I will not be the least bit surprised if Arizona wins this series. As you mentioned, though, your question, I have serious concerns about that Dodgers pitching.
Yeah.
I don't have any concerns about Kershaw. Kershaw's going to be totally fine. He always is. I mean, even though he's had checkered past in the playoffs, Kershaw's going to be fine. All right. The bullpen will be fine in LA. A lot of people worry about the bullpen. I'm not worried about Kershaw and, most of their bullpen arms.
Yeah.
But I am worried once you get past Kershaw in that rotation, we're looking at Lance Lynn, Bobby Miller, guys who, guys who, if I'm a Dodgers fan, I don't feel great about relying on these guys because
you don't like Ryan Pepio?
Not in the playoffs, I don't. Not having to rely on him in like big moments. That's kind of where I'm at. So I have serious concerns. Here's the thing: they're all talented.
Correct.
But there's something to be said for playoff baseball is just different. And I said in the like with the Minnesota Houston preview, pitching plays in October, and when you have question marks, especially in the starting rotation, it usually catches up with you at some point. And that's my biggest question with LA. I have no question about their lineup. Don't really have much question about their pen. But once you get past Kershaw, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Arizona handles it. Playing a division rival, these teams know each other just like Phillies Braves.
Yeah.
And also, let's not kid ourselves. Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are really good.
Yes, sir.
And they're going to pitch at least twice. And so you got to like Arizona's chances in really both of those games when those guys go. And if it gets to a game 5, chances are they're probably going to be available. And so Arizona's got a legit shot in this series.
Dude, I'm looking at their rosters back to back, okay? The wild card for me, Bobby Miller. It's going to be game 2. It'll be him versus probably Gallen, very likely Gallen for the Diamondbacks. And it is going to be – it's going to have to be his coming out party for America because this dude's got all this stuff. Super young guy. I think he's 20. Yeah, he's 24. He throws absolute gas. If you're a baseball fan, you probably heard of him. He was a very highly touted prospect for the Dodgers. But this is a team that's rotation used to be its strong suit. I mean, you got guys like Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, and then, of course,
Urias was there.
Walker Buehler. I wasn't going to say him. Walker Buehler.
Yeah.
Urias left, dude, and now you're looking at, I mean, what if you get shades of like mid-2010s Kershaw and he's not lights out? You know,
right.
I feel like the Diamondbacks come in and catch him.
And Christian Walker owns him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I saw like 4 for 7 or so. He dominates, man. Golly, I hate to say it. I don't like either one of these teams more than Philly or Atlanta.
No,
so
I don't
I feel
either.
like that's kind of the series. But, dude, you got guys like Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. These are guys who have done it in the playoffs. And we see it time and time again in the regular season. This is a team that come out and they just big brother teams. And, we'll see. What do we get from Max Muncy? He's going to bat 180, but how many home runs is he going to hit? Stuff like that. Golly, dude, I'm sitting here. I am waffling hardcore because I got kind of a hot take. I think
Shoot it out there.
I'm going to take Arizona in 3. I mean,
3?
Yes.
Whoa.
That's more of the surprise face, guys. You saw the stank face earlier. I don't know, dude. I hate to go against my boy Mook like this.
Sweeping the Dodgers.
Dude. I'm thinking Corbin Carroll comes out and
cool down that mic.
Dude, I needed to do that like 20 minutes ago. I am so excited. Man, yeah, I just look at, I like their bullpen better. I like Arizona's bullpen better. I like their lineup 1 through. No, I don't. I really don't. But I think Will's like, no, don't say that. But I think it can compete, and I think if let's see what we get from Kelly in game 1. But I don't know, dude. I see a sweep kind of either way. But just looking at this bullpen, I don't know. We're gonna see. And if the Dodgers do go, I would not be surprised if there are some moves made in the manager's chair because at some point these guys have got to win. Some people call it a Mickey Mouse trophy, the one they won in 2020.
Yeah.
I don't tend to see it that way because that series and that season had its own set of obstacles that they dealt with. But I digress. It wasn't 162 games.
I think the key to the series, other than the pitching that we've talked about, I think here's the thing. I think Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman are so incredible. That's honestly the reason why I picked the Dodgers. Like, I literally just can't pick Arizona over Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. And I think the key to the series for Arizona, aside from the pitching that I talked about, I think two guys in that Arizona lineup have to somewhat match what Mookie and Freddie are going to do, because I have no doubts that Mookie and Freddie are going to hit. They always do.
Correct.
It don't matter if it's the playoffs. It don't matter if it's the regular season. Those guys do what they do. And that's part of what makes the Dodgers so good and so hard to beat.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think that the key for Arizona, aside from the pitching, is getting two guys in their lineup to basically match what Freddie and Mookie's doing. So whether that's Corbin Carroll, really showing up as, yes, this guy is the superstar, right? The up-and-coming young superstar out west.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Walker, Ketel Marte, whoever. It don't matter who it is.
Yeah.
But there's got to be two guys in that Arizona lineup that drive in key runs if they're going to take down the Dodgers. Like, I think that has to be part of the equation in order to beat LA.
Yeah, I like it. Real quick, I'm just looking up some Merrill Kelly stats versus Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. So Mookie, 8 for 32 with 3 home runs and 3 RBIs. 250 batting average, a 914 OPS, and then you got Freddie, 8 for 27. That's a 296, 980 OPS, 1 home run. I've been a little overambitious saying Arizona in 3. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
LA's going to hit. Like, LA's going to score some runs. Like, that's the thing. They are going to score runs. Can Arizona, against a questionable starting rotation as we've laid out, can that lineup match and exceed the production that LA? That's the key to the whole series.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you correct, and I'm pretty sure that I am, if the Diamondbacks win the series 3-0, you're going to get a little snake tattooed on your right shoulder?
I will not, but I will give you all of the kudos in the world for saying that Arizona is going to sweep LA and they actually pull it off.
Seems like we're on the same page.
I just don't see LA getting swept. I mean, Phillies, Braves, I don't think they'd sweep LA just because that lineup's so good. But
that's true.
Stranger things have happened.
Hey, the hopeful romantic in me, right, is kind of still hoping for that Dodgers-Braves 7-game set. But honestly, dude, there's just no wrong answer. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I just think my big takeaway in all this, though,
here we go.
is I feel like we both believe that Arizona has a really good chance in this series, which is honestly different than what you hear almost anywhere if you watch national media coverage.
Yeah.
And like, I really believe that. I mean, again, I wouldn't be shocked if the Dodgers swept the series. Like, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
But I think we both really believe and have reasons behind why we think Arizona could win this series.
Yep. I'm with you, dude. Oh, man, it is going to be so much fun. Let's see. 12:03 Central Time, 1:03 Eastern. Don't make me do the math on the other time zones. You know if you live there. Sit down, watch some divisional baseball, guys. It is the best. I mean, we finally made it, Will, man. The grind is over. We don't have to check our phone every 2 hours to see if, we have to set our lineups properly.
Yep.
This is stress-free, watching the best teams play each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, dude. Anything you want to tell the people before we head out of here?
Man, just enjoy it, man. Playoff baseball is the best. These are guys facing the highest pressure moments and trying to deliver and in the clutch for their teams. And I think something that's really underrated, and if you haven't watched it, maybe you're kind of new to baseball. I don't know. Like postseason baseball, the fans get into it way more. It's
correct.
Every time a pitcher gets 2 strikes when they're on the mound and they're at home, the fans all rise up to their feet. I mean, it's something else. And then when you see, like what you alluded to earlier, Bryson Stott hit a grand slam or somebody hit a home run in a key moment, stadium just erupts.
Yep.
And so, I encourage even a casual baseball fan, man, make a little bit of time this weekend, watch some of the games, enjoy it. These are the best players in the world trying to execute at the highest of levels with the most pressure on them. So I can't wait.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you. Tim McCarver, I think and somebody else probably said this, but he used to say in the playoffs, even a walk is a rally. And every pitch just matters so much more, and the pressure's there, and the fans are electric, like you said. Dude, it's going to be so much fun. Guys, we really appreciate you guys. Hang with us on the schedule. I'm going out of town this week. I'm going to try and get this out Saturday morning before the game starts. So maybe listen to this and then, laugh at us when we're wrong. Tell us on Twitter. Reach out to us on Twitter at BTH_Cody and at Will Sism. And tell us what a great job we did. When Kershaw goes complete game shutty, and it's a 10-0, win because Mookie hit 2 home runs off of Merrill Kelly. You go ahead and let me know what a great job I did on that prediction, okay? And, maybe Will he's not going to get a tiny snake tattooed on his shoulder blade after a while. We'll see. Anyway, yeah. Hey, hit the YouTube channel as well at Bringing the Heat, or I guess just at YouTube, it's just Bringing the Heat, guys. Check that out, and you can see Will's stank face like we talked about. We really appreciate you. But until next time, thanks for listening to episode 51 of Bringing the Heat.